last official work day of the week, today being Friday, the second day in the month of July 2021. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Welcome, of course. We're ready to have another robust conversation as it affects you and I, of course, shaping our world. Well, the oil and gas industry has a significant impact on the Nigeria's economy, though the industry contributes less than 10% to the country's gross domestic product. It contributes about 90% of the foreign exchange earnings and 60% of total income. Consequently, any adverse change in the industry will have a big and long-term impact on government finances. And this is the reason why successive governments have remained focused on the oil and gas sector, despite various discussions on diversifying the economy. And for the past 20 years, there have been various attempts at reforming this industry. However, none of these efforts has yielded any tangible result until the introduction of the Petroleum Industry Bill, of course, reintroduced in 2020. And prior to now, there were various iterations of the PIB, the Petroleum Industry Bill, and it started, of course, that was in 2009 or thereabout. It was later divided into 4 separate bills before emerging in 2020 as a consolidated bill, and it was passed by both chambers of the National Assembly yesterday. Joining me this morning on the platform to discuss the importance and, of course, the significance of this bill already passed by both chambers of the National Assembly, awaiting assent by the president, is the spokesperson of the House of Representatives. He's from Abia State and he represents Bende Federal Constituency at the National Assembly. Representative Benjamin Kalu, glad to have you join us on the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you very much, Michael, for inviting me, and Abians, thank you for tuning in.
Interesting. Welcome. Now, how the 9th National Assembly managed to achieve the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill after several attempts that dates back to the early days of former President Olusegun Obasanjo is surprising to a lot of persons. Maybe you take us through that.
Well, as you know, it's been reported time and again that the next transformation in human civilization is occurring in the energy sector. And as you know, fossil fuel have consistently remained the largest source of sub-Saharan African exports in recent years. Their value has declined sharply due to COVID and other factors, especially the movement into alternative sources of energy. This was shift towards renewable energy and clean energy technologies definitely will provoke a precipitous reduction in global demand for hydrocarbon, such as fossil fuel, coal, oil, natural gas, and knowing fully well that the 50% of the sub-Saharan African export value is composed of fossil fuel. The energy transition may have profound effect on our economies. And in view of this, the need to speed up actions that will align us with the dynamics in the sector cannot be overemphasized. Energy transition, as you know, requires meeting the growing energy demand of 1/5 of all humanity. As we speak, only 43% of the population of sub-Saharan Africa has access to basic electricity. Less than half of the global average of 87%. And that is alarming. This lack of access constrains modern economic development. And I'm sure you can feel it even right down to Aba. Those who are producing shoes and what the battle to get energy to get it done for the bags, even ordinary tailors. And this negatively impacts life expectancy and quality of life in Africa. if you draw up analysis between Africa and other Western community world, you find out that life expectancy is low here compared to what is obtainable overseas. It also severely limits adoption of emerging technologies in areas from banking to education to health to agriculture. Without right energy in place, this will be difficult, and life will be difficult for the common man. I like the way you introduced this topic. It trickles down when we talk about PIB. People see it from the theoretical aspect of it, without looking at the impact that it will have on the everyday life of our people. And over the past few years, I hope we have time for this interactive section.
We have about 45 minutes for the conversation.
Yeah. So let's lay the it's good to lay the foundation, because there are so many students who are listening. There are so many people who are interested in knowledge who are listening, and it is better for people to embrace where we are coming from, where all these things, we are talking about PIB. We'll draw it down from the global picture to the continent, to our continent, and down to Nigeria. And over the past few years, as I was saying, Africa renewable energy solution has proven to be economically viable. And this has underpinned significant innovation across technologies. And in particular, the cost for electricity from utility scale solar photovoltaic, which is known as the PV, fell 82% between 2010 and 2019. While similar trend, when you look at wind projects, reflected an impressive 50 to 60% decline between 2010 to 2019. It has been reported as well that consequently Africa's renewable energy mix has gradually shifted from your traditional hydropower and thermal plants to renewable solutions to both accelerate energy access, because that is what we are battling with, and then support our sustainable economic growth. This transition, when you look at it critically, will be more disruptive to oil exporting economies such as ours, that heavily depends on oil for our economic growth. That's a disruption that is coming, and Nigerians are not fully aware of this disruption. If we don't do anything about it, it will affect our economic growth. According to the renowned International Renewable Energy Agency, countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Morocco, South Africa have shown firm commitment towards accelerated use of modern renewable energy, and they are leading energy transition efforts. While some Africa's smaller countries like Cape Verde, like Djibouti, like Rwanda, also I think like Swaziland, close to South Africa, have also set ambitious renewable energy targets. Others are following suit. And renewable energy is on the rise across the continent as we speak. For example, Africa has shown great progress in the development of its solar energy market over the recent years, with the continent experiencing a growth of over 1.8 watt of new solar installation, mainly driven by 5 countries. I mentioned some of them before. Egypt, South Africa is there, Kenya is there, Namibia is there, and as well as Ghana. Nigeria, on the other hand, is not performing up to this potential. And something needs to be done about it. Therefore, according to projections by the International Energy Agency, gas demand will grow strongly in Nigeria industry, and this will lead to an action to increase gas production and reduce gas flaring, which is good. The World Energy Council recent World Energy Scenario Report estimates investment of roughly $670 to $890 billion per year. That investment will be needed just for power generation. Nigeria must take seriously policies that position Nigeria for a bite
Interesting.
of this apple.
So,
and now, it was this that we considered. And we said, no longer will it be a service to Nigerians, a good service to Nigerians, to keep bringing up this PIB and turning it back. Before, it was a privately sponsored bill. Now it came as executive bill. As our legislative agenda projected, we put it as one of the bills on the front burner. And we insisted that we are going to get it out, not as it used to be before, but as it ought to be, in line with the transition, energy transition that is coming, with a great force towards our economy. So that informed the speed, and like you asked, how did we get it? How did we crack it? It took a lot of negotiation. It took a lot of understanding. It took a lot of intervention by the leadership of the House to ensure that we structured a win-win piece of legislation, both for the IOCs and also for the host country. And then when you come down to the country, not only the host community, the host country, Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigeria is hosting the IOCs. So before you go to the host communities, Nigerians own this oil and gas. It belongs to all citizens of this country. So whatever we structure must benefit Nigerians as well as benefit the IOCs. It is important that we are benefited, or that we benefit from it, because it will help the growth of our economy. And also, it is important that it benefits the IOCs, because we don't have enough money to conduct investment, the huge financial investment that is involved in this sector. Therefore, with the development of oil and gas across the continent, with this new development of oil and gas here and there, the IOCs now have options. Unlike before, in 1958 and thereabout, that regime that saw Nigeria as the major place that oil was found. Before you knew it, Ghana found, Angola, and all the rest of them. So the IOCs have options. And if you are not competitive enough, it means that they are going to leave their investment from your country. They will now put their investment in another country, which will impact heavily on us.
Representative Benjamin Kalu, no doubt this bill will have a lot of positive impact on Nigeria as an oil-producing nation. But let's look at some of the nitty-gritty of the bill passed yesterday. The drafters of the previous versions of this bill harmonized different regulatory structures that exist in the petroleum industry, and that's why they proposed the establishment of one regulator to replace the different regulators the one we have in the industry, like the DPR, the PPPRA, NNPC also, stripping NNPC of its regulatory functions. And we were left from the previous one with the NPRC, the Nigerian Petroleum Regulatory Commission. But the current bill passed yesterday is creating two different regulators for the industry: the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigeria Upstream Regulatory Commission. Don't you think this will breed another confusion and the breeding of unhealthy rivalry, looking at the cost of funding two different management structures?
No. It's not going to. It's not. I think you are misunderstanding. You are referring to Section 4.
Okay.
Yeah, you are referring to Section 4. Section 4, establishment of the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission. There is established the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, which shall be a body corporate with perpetual subsection and a common seal. The commission shall have the power to acquire, hold, and dispose of property, sue and be sued, and not the rest of them. The commission shall be responsible for the technical and commercial regulation of the upstream petroleum operations. The objects and functions of the commission in part are limited to upstream petroleum operations. All these, they are going to be under, we are replacing what you used to have as the DPR with the commission. All the activities are going to be under this commission. So there is not going to be duplication of effort or excess of expenditure.
Okay.
Like you projected. There will be nothing like that.
Okay, let's look at the clause 240 now. It was a very controversial one, in fact, when it was discussed, even during the committee level, the issue of the percentage, of course, for the host communities now. The Senate passed 3% allocation to the communities, host communities, while the House of Representatives voted 5%. How would it be possible to achieve concurrence so that the president can assent to the bill without further delay?
Yeah, I agree with you that that particular section was what delayed the progress of this piece of legislation for a long time. Many wanted the host community funding to be 10%. We battled from 10% and we came down to 5% in the House of Representatives. Remember, this was a joint committee that both the Senate and the House of Rep were involved in. We agreed, after much debate, that it was going to be 5%. But usually when you make a piece of legislation after the committee level, it goes to the General House, which is called the Committee of the Whole. Now, the Committee of the Whole will either adopt it or not adopt it. What happened yesterday, if you watch the event during the Committee of the Whole yesterday, you see when I raised my hand and I came up under motion to support that the chairman of the ad hoc committee, who had moved that section 240 sub 2 of this particular piece of legislation we should have only the 5% as agreed, because we noticed that when they were typing it, they inserted another 2%, making it 7%. So, and I knew that some people had already decided to use that as a reason to kill the bill again. So I quickly raised my hand to be able to defend what we have put together, that I was seconding the chairman to ensure that it is 5% and not the 7% that they put extra 2% there. And that was taken by the House. Now, the House also had the right to say that the 5% was too much, that we have decided at the committee level, because I was a member of the committee, and bring it down. I think that was what happened before the Senate. They went with the 5% that we agreed. The Senate debated and brought it down to 3%. It is not the end of the day. When there is a discrepancy between what the two
chambers,
houses, the two chambers decided on an issue, there's going to be a joint section where we will now come together to harmonize our position. Maybe at the end of the day, it will not be 3% as proposed by them, because we will not accept 3%, and it may not be 5% as we have proposed, because they will not accept it. We might come to 4. We might come to 4.5. Whatever it is an improvement from what it used to be, which was 2.5, to where it is at the moment. Because what we did in the House was to increase it for the host community, full 100% increase. And for us, we felt that was good. We couldn't stop the bill because of that particular aspect.
Okay, I'm still going to take you on this host community fund. Of course, it's a very controversial issue right now. Now, the issue here is that some communities I'm afraid, may have not been captured in this bill. For example, you don't have exploration going in your community, and you necessarily a particular facility is not located in your community, but you have impact. Maybe I'll call them impacted communities now. Are they included in the host community as captured in that PIB?
Yes.
Interesting. So they are also to benefit from any of the percentage agreed on by the National Assembly?
Yes.
Okay, because that's another source of worry here. But tell us how
it shouldn't be a source of worry. It shouldn't be a source of worry. If there is any evidence of impact of the oil and gas around their community is designated as those who fall under that particular impacted communities who also benefit from this host community trust fund.
Maybe for the benefit of Abians, you can help us define what was meant by the host communities, because that has been source of worry. In fact, some of our social media fans also dropped that I may necessarily not have oil facility in my community, but if a pipeline passes through my community and I have an impact from that particular facility, then I'm not a host community, but I'm suffering from exploration activity.
They have been covered. I want to say, just 1 minute. There's something I want to grab from that particular piece of legislation.
Okay.
Yeah, host communities. I think it's 234. I think 234 has to do with the development of the host communities. Let me see what people are referring to. The extent of coverage of yes, if there is exploration going on in your place,
yes,
you are automatically the host community. But as you know, when there is oil spillage, it doesn't just happen where the exploration takes place.
Yes, you're correct.
So there are impacted communities. I'll take you to the definition section of that bill. If you go to the definition section of that bill to read what constitutes host community, maybe it will clear most of the people we're going to post this online, most of the people who are asking questions about what constitutes host community. So if there's a pipeline that is passing through your place, and if that's you are exposed to oil spillage, when there is any impact, you are classified as an impacted community. An impacted community is taken care of by this host community trust fund, which is put in place to house this fund that we're talking about, 2.5%, 5%. So it doesn't call for worry. Most of the people who are raising the issue should visit this particular piece of legislation. It is taken care of. That host communities is not only where the exploration is taking place. Impacted communities alongside maybe where the gas flaring takes, affected, impacted, the oil spillages that could come out from the pipelines, they are also all taken care of. But there's another thing you are not asking me, which also has to do with the frontier. That's what we call the frontier states.
I was going to ask you that. That's actually on my next lineup here. I know that will be of interest to most of the state governors. Of course, how much will be available to the frontier states?
I think what the bill put together was about 30%. 30% cumulative that will be used to look for this oil. When you hear frontier state is where you have potential to exploring oil and gas based on geophysical analysis. You don't just wake up and say, I'm a frontier state, so I'm entitled to the fund. You become a frontier state when there is analysis done, scientific analysis done, and that they have discovered the potential there of a commercial quantity of oil and gas in your place. Then you'll be classified by the commission as a frontier state, and investment will be made in pursuit of this oil and gas. As you know, most of the IOCs don't use their money to do this prospecting at that stage. It is the nation that actually captures it and then invite the IOCs to go in. So it takes a lot of money to get that done, and that is what we are saying, because time is of the essence, and the energy regime, the transition in the sector is quickly moving. We have about 15 years or 20 years. So the more money we invest into looking for where we have deposit of oil so that we can pick it up and then convert it for the benefit of our economic growth, the better. So that is why we allocated that amount of money there. It was another area that gave us a lot of headache because, most of the frontier states are more in the north than in the south. Although we have the GMD, when we invited him, told us that Cross River State, there is a commercial quantity of oil and gas they have found there, and that is a place that needs a lot of fund for them to take it to the next level. He also mentioned that there is another area in Anambra State that has a commercial quantity. Because we asked him, when you say frontier state, which area are we targeting now that will give us large volume of this oil and gas? Bauchi is one of the states that he also mentioned, that basin there, and that is something coming up there in large quantity. And then the Benue has it. There's another one that he mentioned there. So we, in the commission, they have an idea of where the commercial quantity are located and where our money will be invested to make sure that we get sufficient amount of oil and gas. And so you find out that most of the frontier states, once oil is discovered, will now become a host community. I was having a chat with the Deputy Speaker yesterday after the PIB engagement, and he told me that though we are frontier state, but I am very happy that my state very soon is going to be a host community. So most of the frontier states, once they discover oil in large quantity, becomes a host community. So if there's a law that has been passed for the host communities, and it was passed by sentiment, which we try to avoid. So if you claim that you pass it because you are not one of the host communities, if they finally find oil in their place, you'll now become a host community, and the law will be applicable to you. So that was why we tried to make sure that the passage of the bill will be of such that is without fear of ever affection or ill will, that is, without sentiment of regionalism or sentiment of whatever it is, to make sure that it is general for the good of the nation. Yeah.
All right, it is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Of course, we've been speaking with the spokesperson of the House of Representatives. He's from Abia, and Representative Benjamin Kalu. And we're looking at the significance of the bill that was passed by both chambers of the National Assembly yesterday, the Petroleum Industry Bill. Now, let's move on. The bill also spoke about the mid-term gas infrastructure fund. That's another area of concern for Nigerians. The fund is proposed to come from a 1% levy on petroleum products and natural gas. Now, the big question here is the petroleum industry already bears the burden of funding some initiatives like the Petroleum Industry Development Fund, the PTDF, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, and the Petroleum Equalization Fund. Now, the big question is, why do we want to add another one? Is it not going to be too much burden on the petroleum industry? I'm talking about the Midstream Gas Infrastructure Fund. What about that? All right, it is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. And we've been speaking with Representative Benjamin Kalu. Of course, we've been looking at the Petroleum Industry Bill, and we'll take a break now. When we return, we'll continue the conversation.
At Flow 94.9 FM, we've got conducive and well-secured environment for business. High-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
Getting from our rules. Because essentially we have done with second reading. At this stage, what is left before us, now that the report has been presented, is to take clause-by-clause consideration. Because we are taking ourselves back. When we take...
there's something on the report, not the details of everything here, just on the report. So it's not like the DSP had spoken, but it's supposed to be on the report itself, because in our provision, in the standing orders, there is provision for comments on reports when they are submitted. So what I will do is probably I will limit the comments. And if it is the wish, just hold on, if it is the wish of the Senate, I will limit the comments to what the DSP did, the one I called Senator San Musa, and then that's all. Is that okay? Senator San Musa.
Even the source of fund, you are talking about the midstream and downstream is actually looking at both the gas and then the petroleum sector. Now, the point is that in restricting it to only gas, the petroleum sector is left out. So we have to, because it's one commission, midstream and downstream commission. So the point is that we have to bring in, and if you
that
check...
Section 240, subsection 2, and the figure there, 2.5%, be deleted and replaced by 5%.
Thank you.
I say second.
Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's habit. Those in favor of the 14 as amended.
A snippet from the plenary session yesterday that led to the passage of the bill by both chambers of the National Assembly, talking about the lower chamber, the House of Representatives, and also the upper chamber, Senate. And we've been speaking with Representative Benjamin Okezekalu. He has been able to expatiate, of course, on this bill, what it entails, what the frontier states are to get, and also a bit about the unbundling of the NNPC through the bill. We're going to open the lines now. What do you understand by this bill? What are your questions? And also your contribution as the House of Representatives and the Senate yesterday passed the petroleum industry bill after 20 years, of course, yesterday. 0808 182 6949 or 0811-605-2949. You can also drop messages on 0906-510-8289. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Magic.
You're welcome. Good morning.
This is Noble calling from Omaya.
You're welcome, Noble.
We thank God that at the end of it, finally, they have moved it. Even if it might not really be what we expect, especially the host community. Because they were talking about 10%. See where they dragged it to. Some now were speculating whether it's going to be 4.5 or so. At least they don't want to give resource control to this state and the community that these oil resources are being dug from or being taken from. Why can't they allow this percentage to be a bit high? To use that one to calm the people down. You see that these people, they do place points. Even if the member have House of Assembly and the Senate, they may try to claim that, okay, we have done this and they be funding themselves. It's not enough. Look at the cleanup of Ogoni, where they were talking about what's happening. 2 years now, maybe the next year now, Buhari will be running for politics and Buhari will go. So Ogoni clean up. The people are still solving. Come to oil communities on those areas they are taking this oil from. You will see that things are very bad. Condition of living is very poor. Some of doing everything. But when they talk about raising the bill that could favor the people, they will be doing banging. Because I know the people who are in top, who are in position now, this thing will not favor them very well. That's how they would handle it. I can't blame them 100%. I can't really, because if Jonathan have this foresight, this Jonathan comes from Niger Delta, he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do. And we have the majority of Senate who are PDP that time and the rest. He's supposed to use these people and put this in place for us. But now, look at now, all these other people, it doesn't concern them. They are not even care. Whatever they give, it doesn't even for the ground. So it's not fair.
All right, Noble. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Don't be okay. Thank you.
All right, Noble is also happy with the percentage, of course, proposed percentage for the host communities. Good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Happy weekend, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Is the honorable man there?
Well, we're trying to reach him. Hopefully, we'll get across to him before the end of the program.
All right, my greetings to him.
All right.
I remain Mr. Prince Will Uswago from here in Omonachobo.
All right, Mr. Prince Will.
Michael, one thing is to pass the law, or the bill. Another thing is to implement it. Yes, from 5% to 25% is a very good move, but let them ensure that it's being implemented as when due. Secondly, they should take effect that the ripple effect of this increment of the oil producing areas is now affecting most of the people in this area, even when the law has not been implemented. Believe you me, the cost of living, the standard of living in these areas, after this oil is being produced, is being increased. So I urge the federal government and the lawmakers to ensure that all these laws in favor of the oil producing areas, let it be implemented as agreed in that bill. These are my statements. God bless you.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Good morning to you.
Hello, Michael. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Engineer Bonalari, calling from Imo State.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Michael, the passage of the long-awaited PIB into law is quite a commendable one by the lower and upper chambers of the law. It's quite commendable, quite all right. But they said what doing is what should be what doing well. The 5%, the 3 and 5% allocated to these oil producing states, I don't see it as satisfying the yearnings and agitations of people from these oil producing areas. It is very, very small. And secondly, I wouldn't know the time limitations given to the president to give his consent to this law, that is implementing it. You understand? So you should, I think, if he finally gives his consent to this law, it's quite commendable. That should be the right step in the right direction. Then, secondly, this law should be open to amendment. Understand? It should be increased.
All right.
Understand? Because thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
Yes.
Charles from Umahe, yeah.
All right, Charles.
Yeah. Let me start by commending this legislative body and the federal government. Like many other things which former administrations could not do, this is another feather on the cap of the federal government and the present legislature. I think it will go a long way to bring development, as most of these things will go direct to the concerned community. I also urge them to look at the authority of the local government, which has impoverished Nigeria. They should do everything to make sure that the autonomous community, the local government, local autonomous communities, are autonomous and move them from the yoke of the president's governors. This is one of the major problems we have in Nigeria today, because of nothing is happening in the local government where we have most of the people. They should also look at the electoral law so that we can elect those we want, because over 90% of them now, cannot pass any genuine election in Nigeria.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Keep your calls coming. What do you think about the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill? Of course, that was achieved by both chambers of the National Assembly yesterday. 0808-182-6949, 0811-605-2949. Yes.
Hello, good morning, Michael.
Good morning to you.
Yes, I'm High Chief.
You're welcome, High Chief.
The strategy of 3% oil graduation bill into law elicits strong commendation by all women in Nigeria. even though it cannot fully meet up their demands or be treated with the extent of damages that are done to the environment of those communities by oil drilling companies. But it will serve as a consolation. And in course of time, I wish that this bill would be amended to at least 10%, as there is a window for such to kill agitation. I also passionately appeal to the federal lawmakers to ensure that this bill enjoys strict implementation, because it has been the cause of the matter of this nation. That's and God bless from High Chief.
All right, High Chief. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you, Mr. Victor Oni.
Yes, you're
My
welcome.
name is Gonna Eric.
You're welcome,
Calling
Mr.
you from
Ogona.
Manchester, Olokoro.
You're welcome.
If I call that passage of that bill now a Greek gift or a promissory note, some people will say we are naysayers. But let's leave it at that. But I want to personally believe that as of now, to me, the promissory note, when it is implemented, I will see it as a cash at hand. So we'll know what to do about it. The second thing I want to say is this. A House of Assembly that is promising us electronic voting in the next few
You mean the
months or
National
whatever.
Assembly?
Yes, the National Assembly.
Okay.
They are promising us electronic voting soonest. They are still doing those in favor say, hey, the next day, nay. What is too difficult about them implementing electronic voting system at the National Assembly for a start before they bring the other ones? You see, that is why some of us are incurable pessimists that we have not gotten where we are supposed to go. If the National Assembly is still using voice votes to cast 5% and 2.5%, you say yay, say nay. I am very, very pessimistic until certain things are implemented in this country. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Mike,
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
All right.
Who say my name? I'm calling from Why.
All right. You're welcome.
Let me in particular talk about the electronic voting. All these things that we are doing in this country, we just have a little way to do and safeguard.
Well, our topic of discussion is the petroleum industry bill.
You didn't say anything about
No, we didn't talk about
electronic bill.
We didn't talk about the electronic bill anyway. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. I think that's how far we can go today on the platform. We do appreciate our guest, the spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Of course, the program returns on Monday. That will be the start of a new week, and we will be here to discuss another issue as far as the country is concerned, another topical issue affecting you and I. Thank you very much for joining us. Many thanks to the producer, Samson Eze and Uyaya Basijimi. And also many thanks to the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Solomon and Stanley. Do enjoy the rest of your day. This is Flow 94.9 FM.